Welcome to a Friday Reads, where I talk about what I've read, what I'm reading, and what I hope to get to next. I have finished things. I feel accomplished, especially the things I have finished. So we're going to start with that. I have finished The Mountains Sing. We discussed it at book club. Generally, the group liked it. It was like a 4.5-star read, pretty much exactly for the group, which is actually what I rated it, I believe. The more I think about how that story was crafted, the more I like it, because it's kind of has this innocent way of telling a story with very difficult, dark content. And I think that really helps make it more palatable, even though we're discussing some really tragic events. The Great Famine, the Land Reform Act, the Vietnam War, like all of these things are there, and there are moments that are just so harrowing in the story. But the way that it's delivered to us, the narrative framing of Guava being told this story by her grandmother when her grandmother's telling her arc, and then seeing the present day, which is the 70s of the story, through Guava's eyes, who is this like child teenager, so she has that her own innocence to it. I loved it. So that's one that I finished. Highly recommend the audiobook, especially if you aren't familiar with Vietnamese pronunciations, because it was really nice hearing it. And also it's a story that like is about telling a story about your family and your generation. So it really worked in that medium for me. So that was a win. I also finished and started, didn't tell you guys about it, but I read Turning Darkness into Light and the editorial letters by Lady Trent. I have finished the Lady Trent part of my life. I have filmed a review video that I have not edited yet, but it exists on my computer somewhere. Even though when you saw Last Friday Reads, I was in the middle of 5 things, an absurd number. I was like, I want something that I'm not reading right now, though. I need something that progresses faster. And I decided that I would pick up a bunch of books and see which one worked, and this is the one that I just sat down and read like 60 pages in one sitting, and then in 48 hours read a 400-page book. Granted, this is mixed media. It has letters, diary entries, like some like stuff like this. Like, it's not like full pages, 400 pages. But man, I had so much fun with this. I was so nervous, like I'll say in my review, so I'm going to try and stop because I have a review coming out for this book. But I had a blast. This might be my favorite. This is actually, it is my favorite in the Lady Trent series, even though Lady Trent is still my girl, still my favorite character. But this was a delight. I picked it up Thursday, finished it Saturday. Who knew? And then the editorial letters were just like so funny. It was so great being with Lady Trent's voice again, as she's just like demolishing this guy in this fake editorial for basically doing some scam. It like lightly refers to a thing in the books. Like the books reference this event that is not important to the plot, and then I guess Marie Brennan decided to write those editorials, and it was a delight. I think it's technically marked as 3.5, so you're supposed to read it maybe after the third book. I read it after everything, and it was honestly great just to revisit her sass again. It was just lovely. So that was fun, unexpected, and then I finished Goliath. I know last week I was like, I don't know, I'm 50 pages in, might DNF, we'll see. And it's not that it got easier to read, but I'm obsessed. I can't stop thinking about that book. I finished it yesterday. And the day before that, I had read a good chunk of it, and then I was dreaming about it, and then I finished it yesterday, and then I was dreaming about it again, and just keep thinking about its intention and what it means to do and how it accomplishes it. Review video to come of Goliath. It's not a sci-fi book for everyone, but it's a sci-fi book that I am so glad exists. I don't know, it's doing stuff that I think is essential, especially, as you look back at literature and how it reflects the time in which that art was created. This is one of those. And I'm blown away by it, still confused by it. It's still not a perfect read for me, but I really like thinking about it. It's a book where I'm having way more fun thinking about it, connecting dots. I already want to reread it, even though it was so hard to read. It was so challenging. The vocabulary issue I talked about last week did actually improve, but the narrative framing, it's non-linear, it's a challenge. But I think it had good payoff for me, and there were emotional payoff moments and intellectual payoff moments. I don't know how to rate that book. I have no clue. I normally rate on enjoyment, and my enjoyment factor is from so many weird things that are normally not what I associate with books. So I'm excited to get all of my thoughts out in a review in the coming weeks. That book comes out, I believe, January 25th, though, and I need people to pre-order it and read it so I have people to talk to about it, because it's a book that I know will thrive with engagement and conversation. It just has so many things that I missed. I'm one of the first people to read it, so I'm supposed to make the video that other people can go to after they finish it, but I need that video. I'm there's no video for me to discuss the themes and the things that went down yet for me to think about it. Oh, it's gonna stick with me. So that was surprising because I was so lukewarm on it this time last week. I was just dragging my feet, never wanted to pick it up. I took a break to read this, and then I think on Sunday or Monday I picked it back up again and then finished it on Tuesday. It was a trip. So those are the things that I have finished. I am still continuing my journey with the Paper Menagerie, which is still a delight. We're a little over halfway now. Is that where my bookmark thing is? We read the titular story. Gets me every time. Just every single time. I'm trying to think since last time if there's a story I want to talk about, because I know where we left off. So we read another story that I had read before, but I don't really need to talk about it. They're just all really interesting lenses into how Ken Liu thinks about language and evolution and how he does his own thought experiments. I've had a really engaging time reading this with friends. I still need to read today's story, which I haven't gotten to. And then there's a 100-page story, so we will see. But this is still going great. One of the best short story collections I've ever read. In contention with Exhalation. They're neck and neck. If you like Exhalation, you should try this out. If you like the thought experiment-ness of Exhalation. They're very different at how they do character work. I wouldn't say that is a one-to-one between those two authors. But yeah. And still working on Midnight Tides. I actually didn't pick it up this week because Goliath took all of my brain. When I had the energy to read a dense work, it was going towards trying to finish Goliath, which is only 330 pages, but it took me a week and a half. So, challenging read. So hopefully we'll get back on to reading Midnight Tides soon. I'm still reading House of Earth and Blood. I don't have an update. It's just House of Earth and Blood. I've read it before. It's a cozy reread that I read at night when I'm trying to get ready for bed or if I can't sleep. That's when I read it. Or if I have a migraine and I'm just I can't engage with the universe right now. So those are the things I'm still working on. I have also started an audiobook for the NonFiction book club. I've started Mediocre, and it's really interesting to think about as a white person in America and the different things she brings up. She just is highlighting examples of specific things that white men have done in history and how it has expanded. And I don't know, I'm very early on, but there's stuff about Buffalo Bill that was in there, for example. And I always get really sad when I read about what happened to the buffalo in the United States. It's just excess times 10, and why it happened. Kind of learning about that here. Just read a section that discussed something about Joe Biden. It's an interesting way of engaging with how our systems are structured and what we're willing to put up with, what we're willing to accept at people who join feminist and black spaces as an ally specifically. And then it also makes me think about my allyship, who I am as a person. Would I be willing to make societal level sacrifices in the name of equality? Stuff like that. It's interesting to think about, but also it's definitely a book that is framing itself as a book that would be someone's entry point into reading about nonfiction books on politics and race, and this is my 5th book. So there are some things where it's oh yes, I have heard this before, but I understand this is an intro work, so we have to set that table. They can't assume people have read the books that I have read when they pick this up. So there's that repetitive nature to it, but I'm enjoying the audiobook. It's narrated by the author, which is very nice. Editing Angela here. I forgot to mention that this Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Jess Owens is going to join me for reading sprints. We're going to be talking about just stuff, but we're also going to be, in theory, reading Mediocre, although you don't have to be reading that. You could be reading and working on anything. I might be reading something else. It depends, since I am pretty far into the book. But regardless, reading sprints are happening this Saturday at 2 p.m. and I hope you've enjoyed this footage of my fuzzy cats. So I'm not sure what I'll pick up next. I'm thinking about continuing having like a sci-fi on the go, since I've just been really liking getting back into that, and I have Ursa Major for that on my Kindle. I also just picked up Malice from the library. This is a very loved beat up copy, very tall, trade market paperback or something. I don't know. I also have this on Kindle from the library, so which is good because this is a long tall boy. Actually, it's not too bad. 620 pages. So like about a Mask of Mirrors length. So I have this and I have Ursa Major. And then I also have Unraveling by Karen Lord. So I don't know what I'll be in the mood for. I kind of want to finish up one more thing on these like longer books that I've been working on. Like House of Earth and Blood I'd like to finish, and then I could start Malice, and I could maybe pick up Ursa Major right now that I have finished Goliath. And I also have so many new releases on my radar that are just like staring at me on my Kindle, so I kind of want to just like go rogue and just grab something to read. We shall see. But yeah, that's this week in reading. Lots of good surprises, like quality surprises. And in terms of things that I've been watching, I made my roommates watch the Amazing Spider-Man movies last weekend. It was great. I love those movies. I'm a weirdo who always has fun with them. I think they're a campy good time, and Andrew Garfield, I think, is a phenomenal Spider-Man. And I really like Gwen Stacy more than MJ, at least if we're talking about the Tobey Maguire's MJ. So I love them. Are the villains good? No. Is the writing amazing? No. But I have fun. And they came out when I was like leaving high school going to college, like, and that's what was happening to the characters in The Amazing Spider-Man. So it like really captures my high school experience. So I love The Amazing Spider-Man, so that was a fun thing we did. So that's basically my week in entertainment. Who knows what I'll do next as my brain slowly descends into madness, because there's definitely been some like job and thesis stress this week, but the reading's been really good to keep me like uplifted and excited about things that aren't work related. If you made it this far though and want to leave an emoji, you can leave a dragon, because I have finished all the Lady Trent books, which is so bittersweet. This one is so good. Again, I just wanted to say that if you were like me, I was nervous about reading this because it's not Lady Trent, but it's so good. The mystery, man, the mystery. But like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.